good morning guys. So this is day number 3 of doing the electrical for this tiny house. So as you can see behind me, I've already actually started running some of the wires. So today we're just gonna focus on getting the rest of the wires run within the tiny house, and then also terminating all the wires into the boxes. And then from there, once all the wires are done, and I run all the low voltage stuff like the speaker wire, the coax, and the HDMI cable, once all that stuff is done, then essentially the house is ready to be insulated, and then we can also do the drywall as well. So this is very exciting because this is one of the very last steps before the house really starts to look like an actual house on the inside. So get excited, all right? Get freaking excited. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna trace out the first 2 circuits with you guys, just so you can kind of see what I've already done, and then I'll show you what I'm doing for the remainder of the other circuits. So this is the fridge outlet right here, and it is on its own dedicated circuit. Whenever I wired houses as an electrician, we always put the fridge on its own circuit. I can't remember the exact reason why, but the reason why I think that the fridge should be on its own circuit is because say somebody trips like another circuit in the house and the fridge happens to be on that, then the fridge turns off and then your food could spoil. So it's always good to have the fridge just on its own dedicated circuit. The fridge on its own circuit starts here. You can follow the white wire all the way around, follow it around. Because of this mess of boxes right here, had to do a little bit of a dipsy doodle with the wire. And then bring the wire back around. And then that just goes straight out right to where the panel is. So the next circuit is the 20 amp kitchen outlets. So it starts, so it technically kind of like, it ends there, but this is the first receptacle here. So this is gonna be a 20 amp GFI, and then this is just gonna be a 20 amp plug. That's also gonna be GFI protected because it's gonna be on the load side of this GFI right here. So I have a wire jumping from this box, goes down, and then goes up to here, and then another wire coming down and running all the way, uninterrupted, dipsy doodle, all the way to the panel. So those are the first 2 circuits. The one's 20 amp kitchen plug, the other one's 15 amp fridge plug. So right here is gonna be a breakfast bar. The breakfast bar is gonna come right up against this wall. So right here you can see this black mark right here. That is the basically the countertop height. So I measured 36 inches, which is standard countertop height from the floor there. So that's 36 inches. So I want to make sure that this receptacle is obviously above the countertop height, but also really not close to this window here because there's going to be some wood trim that's going to come below the window here. So this is also going to be a 20 amp GFI plug because it is approximately maybe 3 or 4 feet from the sink there. So any counter outlet that is like within 3 feet of the sink needs to be GFI protected. I don't remember exactly how the GFCI plugs work, but I can use an example. So you've probably seen it like in movies where like somebody will be sitting in a tub and somebody like turns on a toaster and like throws the toaster into the tub when the person's in it and it kills them. So a GFCI actually protects the person in the tub from actually getting electrocuted, and it'll trip the breaker a lot quicker than if it was just on like a normal circuit. So all I'm gonna be doing with this one is just taking the yellow wire, which is rated for 20 amps, with just 12-2 wire, and I'm gonna be running that directly right from the panel right to this box. So what I'm gonna do here is take some of this 12-2, which is a 20 amp wire, and I'm just gonna roll some of it out here. Normally, you'd actually have like a reel of wire that's on like a metal reel that you can actually just like spin the wire right off of. But at Home Depot and Lowe's, if you just want to get 250 feet of the wire, it doesn't even come on a reel. I would have to get like 1,000 feet of each color, and I don't need nearly that much wire just for like a little tiny house. So I kind of have to like get as much as I need and then just kind of roll it out like this in order to straighten out the wire. It is kind of annoying, but since it's such a small house, it's not that big of a deal. So when I get the wire to the box here, I want to make sure that there's at least about an extra So this would probably be at least 7 or 8 inches of extra wire past the box here. I'll explain a little bit further when I'm actually terminating the wires, why you should leave so much extra wire at each one of the boxes. But for now, I'm just gonna feed the wire up into the box, into this little cavity. So the wires run to this box here. Now I'm gonna go back to the other end of the cable there and cut off enough so that there's enough to go down outside into the utility box and then into the panel. So I've got a rough measurement for the wire to this point here. So that will get me right down to where these holes are. And what I'm gonna do, since these wires will drop out right above the panel, I'm just gonna add another maybe 3 or 4 feet of wire. Then I know I'm gonna have enough wire to terminate it properly in the panel. So I'm just gonna go ahead and measure another 3 or 4 feet. And then just snip the wire. I just have to finish running it through these studs here and then right out to the panel, and that's how we're running that one dedicated counter plug circuit. So the next circuit that we're gonna run is gonna have that receptacle on it, that one right there, these two 3-gang boxes, this receptacle, these 2 lights right here, the three outlets that are in the loft here, and then we're also going to put this plug and this light on that circuit as well. So to start this circuit, I'm gonna run a wire from that receptacle all the way down to this one right here. So again, just to reiterate, making sure that I have at least 7 or 8 inches of wire past the box. I did attach one of these straps to the wire right here. It probably wasn't necessary because the wire is supported by this hole, and you need to support the wire within 12 inches of any box that you're gonna terminate it out of. But I just wanted to put one there anyways. So I have the wire coming down this outside stud right here. It's gonna pass through this hole right up here, come down to the box, and I can just measure off just about to right there, snip the wire, and then I can just finish running it through these studs here. So you can see how the wire is pretty loose just on the stud here, so we want to strap it to the stud. I really like to use these white staples here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to strap it at 2 different points. Now there is actual electrical code for how often you have to strap it down or support it. It's been a long time since I've done this, so I don't know the exact numbers. But for this length of wire here, I just put 2 staples in there and it'll be good. Like I said earlier, you need to support the cable within 12 inches of the box. So I'll try to get a staple in kind of back in here. All right, so now I'm gonna run a wire from this box here all the way up to this one right here. So I'm gonna run a short little wire from this box so that I have power in this one right here. And then from this box, we're gonna go up into that loft, do those lights and do the plugs up there, and then come down and do the bathroom. So coming out of this 3-gang box, got a wire running up to this switch box here. Out of the top of the switch box is a switch line for these 2 lights here. Out the bottom goes to that receptacle, to that one, to that one. And then from there, it goes down this wall, down to that receptacle down there, up to this switch, and then this switch box does these 2 lights right here. So the next thing for this circuit that I need to do is I need to run a wire from this box all the way to the panel. Then that will be the electrical supply for that circuit, and then it's done and we can go on to the next one. got all the wires run with the exception of a 3-wire from the 3 gang at the front door up to the ceiling fan, and then I also just have to run the speaker wire as well. But everything else is good to go. Now what I get to do is tie everything in, or otherwise known as terminating the wires into the boxes, and I'll be making all the joints in the boxes as well. Not that kind of joint. I'll show you how to terminate some of the wires into the boxes. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to terminate a standard outlet. So 2 wires coming in. Essentially what you wanna do is, if you've left enough wire past the box, is you wanna place a wire in front of the box, take your knife, and then start scoring it, basically to get rid of the jacket, right at the bottom of the box. And I'll explain why in a second. So we just pull the jacket off there. And then pull the jacket back, put your knife down like that, and then just chop it off like that. And then do the same thing on the other wire here. Same thing. Now we want to insert the wires into the box. So just take them and then stick them through the back here. There we go. Same thing on the other side. All right, so now with the wires inside the box, the reason why we cut the wire down at the bottom of the box, like that's where we start to take off the jacket, is so that we still have at least about 3 inches extra of wire still in the wall. It's a really good practice to do that, because say if some of your wire kind of gets screwed up inside the box here, that means you can always pull through at least another 3 inches of wire to make your connections on the switch or the plug or whatever you're hooking up. So the next thing that I like to do is trim the wires to a much more manageable size. So we probably need at least 7 or 8 inches worth of wire. So that's good right there. Trim these ones at the same. And then what I like to do, and then the next thing that we can do here is separate the ground wires. So with the ground wires separated, what I want to do is I want to actually mirette these off and then have a little bit of a tail. The reason for that is because on the actual receptacles or the outlets themselves, it really only has a place for 1 ground wire on the actual outlet. So if I just take the 3 grounds, and then I can mirette them together just like this. Again, 6, 7, 8 inches, probably just about 6 inches for that is fine. And then we can just put that off to the side. And then for the neutral and for the hot, what I like to do is just strip off, I don't know how much, maybe about that much, maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Do that on all these wires. Some electricians just might finish off the box like this, push everything in, and then they're done. Those are guys who use the push connectors on the back of on the outlets. I like to use the screws on the side. So what I'm gonna do is just put curls, or just little like curls like that, into the ends of the wires here. So with how this is right now, when I come to actually finish doing the electrical and I start putting the outlets and stuff in the actual boxes, all I need with me is just a screwdriver just to screw these in to the side of the outlet, and that's pretty much it. Also do the same for the ground there, just put a little curl on it. And then basically what we can do is just take these and just start bending them in towards the back of the box. So we just take it, bend it back into the back, very back of the box. The reason for pushing them all the way to the back in the box is once this gets drywalled, the drywallers come around and they usually have this like a little like zip tool where they'll like zip inside the box till they find the edge, then they'll zip around the outside of the box in order to get the cut for it. So if your wires are sticking out like this, there's a really good chance that it can get zipped by their little zip drywall tool. So you just want to push those into the back. Then they're not gonna get nicked by the drywallers. Okay guys, I'm gonna call it quits for the day. I almost got all the everything on the main floor tied in. I got the one loft tied in. I just have to do this other loft and then the lights and the ceiling fan just above the camera here. But yeah, I hope some of you got a lot of value out of me kind of like showing you what I'm doing with some of the electrical work. If you have any specific questions about anything that I did, definitely leave them in the box below and I would be happy to answer any of them. Once I'm done with everything, I'll probably do a once over and just kind of go over the entire electrical circuit and how everything is wired, just so that some of you get a better idea for it, and then if you're doing projects yourself, you'll probably do a much better job and it'll just be a lot easier. Alright, I think I might take tomorrow off, so I'll see you in 2 days. Catch you guys on the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace!